The night sky above Bali shimmered like spilled diamonds. I had chosen the villa overlooking the sea because it was supposed to heal what was breaking inside me. 10 years of marriage, 10 years of building a life together, 10 years of waiting for Liam to finally see me as more than a background figure in his world of wealth and meetings. This trip, I thought, would remind him of us, the woman who had built him, loved him, and stood beside him while he chased every dream. But that night, under the soft amber lights of our anniversary dinner, Liam decided to destroy the illusion with a single sentence. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't even look ashamed. He simply set his wine glass down, folded his napkin neatly, and said, "Aaliyah, I think it's time we stop pretending. I've found someone else." The words slid across the table like broken glass. For a moment, everything around me went silent, the waves crashing beyond the terrace. The faint laughter from the other tables, even the music. My fingers froze halfway to my glass, the condensation dripping slowly down my knuckles. My son's chatter died mid-sentence. My mother-in-law blinked, shocked, then immediately looked away, as if she hadn't already suspected something. I wanted to laugh, because I already knew. For months, I had watched the small changes. The gym memberships, the new suits, the long meetings that never matched his company's schedule, the perfume on his collar, not mine. Each clue was a breadcrumb, leading me to the truth he thought I'd never find. I didn't confront him. I simply started to prepare. So when he made his grand confession, I wasn't broken. I was ready. Liam leaned back, his face relaxed, even smug. "You deserve honesty," he said. "I don't want to hurt you, but I can't live a lie." I tilted my head, studying the man who once cried when he couldn't afford flowers for me, the man who now wore a $20,000 watch. "And this new woman," I asked softly, "does she make you honest?" He didn't answer. My mother-in-law shifted in her chair. "Maybe we should talk about this privately." "No, it's fine," I interrupted, smiling politely. "If Liam wants honesty, let's have it out in the open." I reached for my clutch, the same one I never went anywhere without. My hand brushed the thick envelope inside. My heart didn't race. It slowed, steady and cold. "Then you should read this," I said, sliding the envelope across the table. Liam frowned, glancing at it like it was a joke. "What's this supposed to be?" "Closure," I said, my voice calm. "Since we're being honest." He tore it open, expecting maybe a letter, maybe tears on paper. Instead, his eyes met a stack of documents, printouts of messages between him and his mistress, screenshots of their secret trips booked with our joint account, and at the very end, a bank summary tracing his illegal transfers from his company's investment fund into her shell business. His confident smirk vanished. He flipped through the pages faster, his jaw tightening, a nervous pulse twitching near his temple. How did you even get this?" he whispered. "You should really stop saving your passwords in your browser," I replied, taking a slow sip of champagne. "It's reckless." The table was silent. Even the air around us seemed to freeze. His mother's eyes widened as she recognized one of the company's letterheads. "Liam, this can't be real." "Oh, it's real," I said gently. "Every line, every transfer, every weekend you claim to be in London, but were actually at that seaside villa with her. I even have the receipts." He pushed back from the table, his chair screeching against the wood. "Aaliyah, you can't just—" "I already did," I cut in. "While you were busy finding someone new, I was busy finding myself. And apparently a very good lawyer." He froze. "That envelope is just a copy," I added. "The originals are with my attorney. As of last night, the divorce papers were filed. The house, the shares, the savings, everything you thought we owned together legally belongs to me now." His face drained of color. You wouldn't—" I smiled. "I already did." The waiter appeared, awkwardly holding dessert plates, unsure whether to serve or flee. I gave him a reassuring nod. "It's fine," I said softly. "This dinner just ended a little differently than planned." Liam's hand trembled as he tried to grab his glass. He missed. My daughter tugged my sleeve, confused. "Mommy, are we going home?" "Yes, sweetheart," I said, standing up, my voice steady. "We are." I turned to Liam one last time. "You see, Liam, I didn't lose you. You lost everything I made you." And with that, I walked away, heels echoing on the wooden deck, every step sounding like the countdown to his downfall. Later that night, I sat by the shore, the moon glowing over the waves. I thought about the years I spent trying to fix a man who was already broken inside. I thought about how love had blinded me to the arrogance, the selfishness, the small betrayals that had grown into this moment. But most of all, I thought about freedom. In the distance, I could see him pacing the balcony, Phone pressed to his ear, his voice raised as he spoke to his lawyer. Panic had finally replaced pride. I didn't need to hear the words. I already knew the story had changed. Because that envelope didn't just end our marriage, it ignited the beginning of my revenge. And Liam, for the first time in his life, was no longer the one in control. The morning after that dinner felt strangely peaceful. The waves outside my villa sounded softer, calmer, as if the ocean itself had exhaled with me. For 10 years, I had woken up beside Liam's alarm, his endless calls, his restless ambition echoing before sunrise. But that morning, there was silence. No phone, no rush, no tension. Just peace. I sipped my coffee slowly on the terrace, watching the horizon turn gold. I had already packed my bags. My flight was in 4 hours, but I wasn't leaving empty-handed. I was leaving with every single thing Liam thought he controlled, including his reputation. By the time he woke up, disheveled and anxious, I was ready. He came out onto the balcony, eyes bloodshot from a sleepless night. "Aaliyah, what did you do?" he demanded, voice trembling between anger and fear. I didn't turn. "What you forced me to do," I said simply. "Protect myself." He stepped closer, his tone growing desperate. "You can't just ruin my career out of spite. You think people will believe you?" I finally turned, meeting his eyes, the same eyes I once trusted, the same eyes that lied every single day. "Liam, this isn't spite. It's justice. And yes, people will believe me, because the evidence doesn't lie." He froze, realizing the weight of my words. I walked past him, heading toward the living room where my lawyer, Mr. Daniels, was already waiting. Liam's jaw clenched when he saw him. "You brought him here?" "Yes," I replied coolly. "He has a few documents you need to sign." "Sign? What documents?" "Your resignation," Mr. Daniels said, his tone professional but cold. "As per the emergency board vote this morning, your shares in the company have been transferred under Mrs. Aaliyah Bennett's name. The shareholders were informed of the misconduct and requested your immediate removal." Liam's mouth fell open. "You told them? You can't—" "Oh, I didn't have to tell them," I interrupted. "Your mistress did. Apparently, she wasn't aware you were transferring client money into her account. She thought it was just love gifts. So when she got the subpoena this morning, she panicked and handed over everything." He went completely pale. "I warned you once, Liam," I whispered, stepping closer. "Never underestimate the quiet ones. We don't scream when we're hurt, we plan." His breathing turned heavy, hands shaking. "You're destroying my life." I smiled faintly. "No, Liam, you did that yourself. I'm just watching it happen." He sank into a chair, burying his face in his hands. For a long moment, he didn't speak. I almost pitied him, almost. But then I remembered the smirk he wore last night when he announced he'd found someone new, and the pity vanished. The rest of the day unfolded like a perfectly written script. By noon, Liam's name was trending online, leaked emails, frozen accounts, and a board statement, confirming his voluntary resignation. The woman he had risked everything for was already in police custody for financial fraud, and I was on a flight back home, window seat, watching the clouds drift below me like soft white armor. I checked my phone once during the flight. 48 missed calls from Liam. I didn't answer. When I landed, the city felt different, lighter. My lawyer had arranged a quiet transfer of our home's ownership. My bank balance reflected the settlement I had legally secured. But what gave me true satisfaction wasn't the money, it was knowing that Liam would have to face the world he had built on lies, completely alone. The next few weeks were chaos, news channels dissecting his downfall, friends avoiding him, his company's reputation collapsing under the weight of scandal. He tried calling me again and again, leaving voice messages that started with rage and ended with pleading. "Aaliyah, please, I need to explain. Aaliyah, they're taking everything. Aaliyah, I'm sorry." Each message was proof that my silence hurt more than my words ever could. Then, one evening, he showed up at my door. Disheveled, exhausted, a shadow of the man who once flaunted designer suits and arrogance. I didn't open the door fully, just enough for him to see me standing there, calm and composed. "Please, Aaliyah," he said, his voice cracking. "I made a mistake. I lost everything. I just need—" "You need what?" I asked quietly. "The wife you discarded? The woman you betrayed? Or the business partner you underestimated?" He lowered his head. "I have nothing left." "Then start over," I said softly. "That's what you wanted, isn't it? A new life?" He looked up, desperate, broken, realizing I meant every word. "You won't help me?" I shook my head slowly. "No, Liam, I already did. I helped you learn what loss feels like. and then gently I closed the door. Behind it, I could hear him whisper my name one last time, but I didn't turn back. I walked to the window, watching him disappear down the street, the night swallowing his silhouette like the end of a story I had already rewritten. For the first time in years, my heart didn't ache. It was quiet, powerful, free. I didn't destroy Liam's life out of hate. I did it to reclaim my own. And as I stood there, overlooking the city lights, I knew revenge doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, and when it does, it's unstoppable. 6 months had passed since that night. The night. Liam's world fell apart with the quiet slide of an envelope across a dinner table. It was strange how quickly life can rewrite itself, once you stop waiting for someone else to fix it. My mornings no longer began with tension or silence. They began with sunlight streaming through the curtains, the soft hum of my favorite records, and the smell of fresh coffee in a home that was entirely mine. Liam's downfall had become the city's whispered legend. His name, once printed on the covers of business magazines, now flickered in the sidebars of online scandals. Former CEO faces multiple fraud investigations. Disgraced. Executive spotted leaving courthouse. Each headline was another note in the slow, poetic song of his undoing. But revenge, I had learned, is not about watching someone burn. It's about lighting your own way after the darkness they left behind. I had taken over his company shares, not to destroy the business, but to rebuild it with honesty. I renamed it, reshaped it, hired the people he had wronged. In every boardroom, in every decision, there was a quiet echo of the woman they once underestimated. And every success, every deal closed was a soft, deliberate victory, one that didn't need to be shouted. Still, some nights I thought of him, not out of love, but curiosity, wondering where arrogance goes when it's stripped of everything. I didn't have to wonder long. One afternoon, while walking out of a charity event downtown, I saw him, Liam. He was standing near the entrance, wearing a faded jacket, holding a newspaper like it was a shield. His once perfect hair was now unkempt, and his eyes, those confident, sharp eyes, looked lost. He saw me before I could turn away. For a moment, time froze, like an echo of our old life trying to breathe again. He took a hesitant step forward, voice trembling. "Alea." I stopped, calm as ever. "Liam." He swallowed, looking down. "You look different." "I am," I said simply. He nodded, struggling to meet my gaze. I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. I know, I replied quietly. And I believe you. That seemed to surprise him. "You do?" "Yes," I said, tilting my head slightly. Because losing everything has a way of making people honest. He exhaled shakily, as if my forgiveness was the last thing he expected. And maybe the one thing he needed. "You won," he said softly. I smiled faintly. "No, Liam, I didn't win. I just stopped losing." He stood there for a long moment, unsure what to say next. Then, with a small nod, he turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd like a chapter closing itself. I didn't watch him go. I didn't need to. His shadow had already left my life months ago. When I reached my car, the city lights reflected off the windshield like constellations and a reminder that even shattered things can still shine, if they learn to reflect light differently. I sat there for a moment, breathing in the calm, feeling the rare peace that comes only after surviving something that should have broken you. In that stillness, I realized something profound. Revenge wasn't about making him pay. It was about remembering my worth. I had spent years shrinking myself to fit inside a man's fragile ego, convincing myself that love meant sacrifice. But real love, for yourself, means never allowing someone to make you smaller. So I built bigger. I started a foundation for women recovering from emotional and financial abuse, helping them find strength through education and independence. Every story I heard reminded me of my own scars, and how healing them was not the end of my journey, but the beginning of a new one. A year later, when the foundation held its first gala, I stood before a hall full of women who had turned their pain into power. Cameras flashed, applause filled the room, and I smiled, not for the world, but for the woman I had become. Liam's ghost no longer haunted me. He was just a cautionary tale I had outgrown. Later that night, as I drove home, I stopped by the ocean, the same ocean where everything had ended. The same waves that had carried away my past now whispered gently, under the moonlight. I took off my heels, stepped barefoot into the sand, and felt the water lap against my skin. I closed my eyes and whispered, "It's over." And for the first time in years, I didn't mean revenge. I meant peace. As the wind wrapped around me and the tide rose softly, I smiled because sometimes The sweetest revenge isn't destroying someone else's life. It's rebuilding your own so beautifully that they'll never belong in it again.